I want to get on to an interesting subject called Immortal Blood. It's not exactly, well, the term actually goes back to an experiment that was conducted, maybe almost 20 years ago, I think, using blood electrification, according to the patent that was done in New York City, in the Albert Einstein College of Medicine, by Doctors Kaili and Lyman. Kaili and Lyman, Lyman. Now, the theory is, actually, there was a little bit, and it's just something that was written down, not verified by me, but I have a suspicion that it works that well, too. I talked about this blood electrification type stuff a few times, actually. It supposedly will inactivate, cause pathogens not to be able to infect new healthy cells, thus they can't replicate. They can't infect because healthy cells act as hosts for pathogens, viruses, bacteria, bad bacteria, and things like that cause the body harm. So if they can't infect new healthy cells, the theory is, well, if they can't do that, they're going to be taken out by the body. But the theory is this blood electrification does is disrupt the outer protein wall of the virus or whatever, the harmful pathogen, and it causes it so it can't infect new healthy cells. Now, there's a couple patents out on that, and I pointed out about it. But I want to actually point out some other things going back into history. If you go way back in history, you heard about the Black Plague in Europe, in the 13th century Europe, whereby over half of Europe was killed by a type of pathogen or a virus. Now, I know, well, actually, if that started happening today, the internet would be totally abuzz with rumors about the Illuminati doing it. I'm sure of it. And actually, if you go on the internet, you can actually find some things about there was aliens that did it. So, you're going to find a rumor out there one way or the other. But I would say, though, if it happened back then, it really wasn't. It just happened. It was nature doing it. It was just nature, and that's what happened. Now, with this blood electrification thing, it's possible, if it works according to the patent, that it actually will, neutralize things that maybe they don't have medicine for yet, which may be possible. Now, I just want to go back to some things, because this might be the problem for the future, where we have this type of thing happening. Because some of these things could come out due to biological experiments and things like that get out. Like Lyme disease came out, I think, from a Army biological warfare program that probably went wrong. They had it out on an island off of halfway between New England and Long Island, and it's possible that happened. Now the thing is, if you go back in history. The plagues, even in the 6th century, caused more than 100 million people to die during the time of the Byzantine Emperor Justinian I. There was actually 5,000 people a day dying in Constantinople. Now, what I am going to do, which I think is it's something that I'm experimenting with, is actually, I heard about the blood electrification wrist to wrist and ankle to ankle. Well, I'm doing both at the same time, and I'm going to do this overnight, actually. And these devices are actually built by Ecuador by an American, or was a former American. I think they're excellent products, and the difference between this and other devices that were designed by Dr. Bob Beck is that he has a red light that tells you within the range. Like I pointed this out before. So I have this on my wrist. You can see if I go above the range, the light goes off. I go below it, the light goes off, and it's right in the range. And here, this one's beeping at 4 megahertz. You can see that's 4 times a second. If you turn it down, it's outside the range. You turn it up, that's ankle to ankle. Very easy to do. And but I'm going to experiment with it because I started doing this like ankle to ankle and wrist to wrist a few days ago or a couple days ago. And there's another theory behind this. I'm just saying it's theory. If you want to, I've been doing this for years. It hasn't really bothered me because it's way below the what a TENS unit puts out. It's like way below it. It's like very minute. It's really just harmful to viruses, far as I know. But I'm just going to do it for overnight. But the thing where they said they got Immortal Blood, they tried this experiment for 30 days. They did 18 to 24 hours a day, blood electrification. And at the end of the 30 days, they examined the blood according to the papers. I'll just say according to the papers. There was no pathogens, bacteria, or viruses in it at all. They were all like freaking gone. I guess they couldn't infect new healthy cells, so they're gone. But the one precaution to doing this is that it's possible that it affects white blood cells from not working as good as they should. Possible. It's not really known because some of this stuff was originally developed in the Albert Einstein College of Medicine by very prestigious doctors, but you know, there's a theory out there, a conspiracy theory, that it may be true though. I mean, usually money theories are true. How's that? That this would have actually put, you know, tens of billions of pharmaceuticals under, because, you know, electrification of viruses is like much cheaper and it could be done over and over again without buying anything again. That's the theory behind it. But I think that, you know, it's possible. It probably works. But one of the things about it, besides, is that supposedly it causes the red blood cells to unclump, and which can possibly raise your ATP, which is one of the claims. Not by anybody I know or deal with right now or anything, but actually I've seen this in the past where it was stated that. And I'm just going to tell you from my own personal experience. I started doing this a couple days ago, overnight, wrist to wrist and ankle to ankle, and then I went on the elliptical machine. Now I used to do at least 3 hours a day on the elliptical in a cardio rate, in the, you know, the 80 to 85% heart rate, which is insane, right? I was actually halfway anorexic, basically. I was doing that for years, from like, I don't know, years and years. I mean, Christmas Day, I don't give a damn what it was. Thanksgiving, I never missed a day. Never. And actually, there was a few times I actually did 6, 7, or 8 hours of cardio. Like, I'd have to do like 2 or 3 hours, and I'd do 2 or 3 hours, but I did 8 hours in a day. Normally, I do 3 hours. I was doing 3 hours a day straight, religiously. Now, yesterday, you know what I've been doing lately? I've been backing down to like 100 minutes, because that's when the machine does, you know, it does 100 minutes and it shuts off and you reset it. So normally I would sometimes do 100 minutes or 2 hours. Well, yesterday, after doing this thing, I don't know if this is because of this or what, but it seems like I have more energy. I did 2 100-minute things, so 3 hours and 20 minutes in a row, and it was at a good cardio pace. It was like 82 to 85%. So I'm going to keep doing this stuff. I don't know if it works like that or not. Now, the other thing is, it's supposedly, I'm thinking about doing it because overnight, because it doesn't interfere. Like, I'm not going to wear this thing around during the day. And actually what I use is, I'll show you here, because I found it easier to use these kind of things versus these are actually medical type rubber straps for holding on to different things. They have a button on them. They're even better than these Velcro things. Now, these things, actually I got this from down in Dragonfly 75 down in Ecuador. I think these are very high quality, but these might even be better, especially if they're wider. Now, you know, if I was selling this product, I would actually market this to a lot of different, you know, type people. Like, in other words, if you had one of these things and it's this is a 2 battery setup. He doesn't make this version anymore, but I like this one because it's very small. It's like easy to, like, if you had it where you didn't have to take the screws out of the back, you just slide the back out and you put the 2 batteries in and use rechargeables. And I like using 9.6 volt batteries that are rechargeable for the paintball guns, because those things last as long as Duracells, and you can recharge them like hundreds of times. And it, you know, a normal rechargeable battery doesn't last as long as these things. The alkalines do. But the 9.6 volt batteries designed for the paint guns, they work great. And I like using them. But actually, if I was making this product, and I will not make this product because, first off, it's probably patented. And the other thing is, I don't know how to, I can't solder to save my life. You know, it seems like either that or I got a crappy solder gun. But the thing is, I would actually make this in a version that's like a purplish color with Hello Kitty, and, you know, have the women use it too. Because, you know, one of my ideas out there was, you know, they talk about medicinal marijuana being a bad thing. Well, we could have the ladies with women, massage therapists, medicinal marijuana administrators, wearing these things on their ankles too, and no microbes. That's the way I look at it. Microbe electrifier. So that might be a pretty cool thing and a new field of endeavor for the health industry. So, if you get my drift. But actually, I got some really wild ideas. Actually, that's what I think, with these products. A lot of people don't get into this because it's like kind of boring. But once it becomes an in fad, oh, forget about it. Immortal Blood is a possibility. Now, I'm experimenting with this. I don't know. But I think it just gave me more energy. I mean, one of the things I read in the past from 20 years ago, it can raise your ATP. That's like the energy that moves in and out of your cells by keeping the red blood cells from not clumping as much. But you can overdo this, actually. So what I'm going to do is only do it at night, where it's actually doing ankle to ankle and wrist to wrist. And that's going to actually get the blood electrified several times over. And then most of the day, it's going to not do anything. So if it affects the white blood cells a little bit, slows them down, I don't know if it does or doesn't, it'll have plenty of time to do its thing. Actually, I think this might be a freaking cool thing to sell in a lot of areas, but it's like you almost have to have like a different shape, a different color cord. Maybe this is a different color. Like if you're selling this to women, this would be a purplish color. This would be hot pink cord, Hello Kitty on it. No screws on the back. It just slides out and you pop a couple batteries in, a couple different colors on it, and all of a sudden it's like the in thing to have. It's more popular than an iPhone, But I think it does have a lot of benefits. That's my opinion on it. So, but I just wanted to call this like Immortal Blood, and what happened is when they took this blood, they called it Immortal Blood, is because actually after treating it for 30 days, 18 to 24 hours a day. What happened was, if they put the blood between two glass slides and it did not dry out, normal blood would last 3 or 4 days. But when it got treated with this so many times over so many days for so long, there was no pathogens or viruses in it. The blood was still alive as long as it did not dry out between the glass slides over 30 days later. That was why they nicknamed it Immortal Blood. Now, I don't know how true this is or not, but just some of the things I've been reading about this that go back a long time, actually over about 20 years. I think they're true. I think sometimes where people do this stuff and it doesn't work, I'm just guessing. When you have this on the wrist, it has to be right over where the artery is. And I know, like Dr. Beck said, or Dr. Beck PhD said, to put it on the same wrist, which I think can work absolutely fine if you're the doctor doing it and you're making these electrodes the right size so it actually pulses into the main artery. But if it's pulsing on between these two, or you miss that main artery point where it's just going on the outside capillaries and you're not doing that much blood, it definitely ain't going to work, even if it's supposed to work. Even if it does work, if you don't do it right, it's definitely not going to work. Now, that's what I like about his designs, Mike's designs down there in Ecuador, is that he has his light. So, in other words, it's telling you you're getting exact microamps. It's actually, this one's set for 190 microamps, and this one's set between, the red light goes on between 130 microamps and 250 microamps. So that's right in the range of where the patent claims that, that's really the patent claims. Well, it's a patent that's approved. It's a patent that's been shown to demonstrate, it works. How well it works in the body, who knows? You really don't know. I mean, I've heard mixed results about this stuff. But I like it because if you can make this a lot more convenient, and I think one of the things is using these kind of straps. But, if you can actually, my plan is, what I do is I'll kind of look at it like this. Maybe most people won't do this. That's what I think. But it's really actually only for the few that are enlightened. Because, unless somebody, unless people start saying, oh, it's the coolest thing to do, Angelina Jolie does it or something. I mean, maybe she can, instead of removing her breasts, whatever she did, she can have a pulsar going between from nipple to nipple or something with rings or something that saves her from cancer. This is not supposed to be for anti-cancer, though. That's the thing. But Actually, Dr. Beck claimed it helped him, saved his life from cancer. But that's a claim. I don't know if it's true or not. But you know, it's almost like if it becomes a fad, then everybody takes off on it. It's like the truth is something that most people do not gravitate to. What people mostly gravitate to is fads. And I think that's probably the biggest stumbling block for these type of things. But you know what? Like I said, they're not really for the majority. They're only for the enlightened. And I consider myself the enlightened. So my plan of attack, instead of not just doing ankle to ankle or just wrist to wrist, is to do both overnight. And I'm going to use both two devices. Actually, I have another one coming on in order. That's the full powered one with the red light that you can adjust it. This actually is plenty adequate. And I have another one coming on order, so I'm going to be doing that overnight. And actually, if I was selling these things, I would actually sell these like, you know, purplish color, Hello Kitty, you know, purplish cord, some hot pink thing, you know, for some of the ladies to wear. And they can wear them ankle to ankle and just turn on a little thing, and, you know, and then have the batteries so they just slide out. You don't have to unscrew them. 2 batteries. It might be a cool idea, but I don't sell these or make these, so I just think it's a really cool idea, to tell you the truth. The more I read about this stuff, the better I think it is. So, you know, someday, you know, we might have this plague come at us again. And, you know, if it ever happened again, like happened in the 6th century, it also happened in the 13th century, where over half the people on the continent of Europe and also in the Persian Empire died, you know, they'd be thinking the Illuminati did it, but who the hell knows? And I kind of like this thing because it's, I'm not sure if it would work, but you never know. You never know. The theory behind it looks good. It makes sense. You know, it's almost like how does white blood cells attack viruses? Actually, it's an electrical chemical discharge that actually causes the viruses either to die or disrupts them, screws them up enough that they can't infect new healthy cells. So, Immortal Blood, maybe it's attainable, but it's only for the enlightened.